There was a time when I made decisions to please people, to make people happy, even to my own detriment, even when it made me miserable inside, even when I knew I was going against what I believed in and what I desired, even when it caused me pain. You want to know what changed everything? Developing emotional intelligence. Let's talk about how it helped me take my power back. In this video, I want to talk about how emotional intelligence shifted the way I see myself, how I see others, and how it impacted the decisions that I make. If you're tired of second guessing yourself, of living for the approval of others, then this is for you.
Teach her how to jump and how to stretch when she reach, like the angels do, and you gon' make it through now. Tell about the healer, greater is the one within, and call him as the leader.
Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, to recognize, and to manage your own emotions. It is also being able to understand the emotions of others. It's self awareness, it's empathy, it's self regulation, and confidence all in one. The issue that I found with saying yes to everyone and to everything is I would say yes, even when I wanted to say no, even when I knew that saying no was the right thing to do, even when I knew that saying yes was going to cost me something that I probably wasn't even prepared to pay. I had to develop emotional intelligence when I realized that a lot of my decision making, a lot of me not handling my own emotions, not processing things was due to lack of emotional intelligence. The fact is, a lot of the things that we see now, even in grown adults that we expect to be mature, we don't realize how important it is to work on developing our emotional intelligence. Now, that is how you take control of your life, how you live in confidence, how you take up space boldly. One of the things that I did that transformed my mindset is giving language to how I was feeling. Now, we learn in school and we learn when we're young to say, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm angry, but we don't really learn the language to describe how we really feel. You're angry, but how do you feel? You're angry because you feel disappointed. You're angry because you feel like you were betrayed. What do you feel? And so it was important for me to identify I feel this way, but why am I feeling this way? What caused it? What's the root cause? Okay, so I feel sad, but what made me sad? Why am I sad? No, it's not that I am sad. I just feel brokenhearted. I feel disappointed. You see, so once you learn how to give language to how you feel, then you can start to address it. Once you're able to identify it, then you know how to deal with it. That's how you learn how to regulate. That's how you learn how to manage. I stopped over explaining myself and apologizing for my boundaries. A lot of times we know that we need boundaries, and if you've been here before, then you know how many times I have mentioned how important it is to develop healthy boundaries. But sometimes we don't feel very confident in the things that we say. We know that we would like for people to do it, and so we'll find that I have done that. I have set boundaries for myself and then caught myself explaining why I have these boundaries, explaining why I can't allow this, what happened before. I'll give you an example. You will meet someone in the dating phase and you'll say, one of the things that I expect is loyalty. But then you go further to say, I expect loyalty because my ex cheated on me and it was so painful and I went through the worst phase of my life and I felt like I didn't want to be here anymore. There you are over explaining your boundaries. And I get it sometimes that you think you want to do that so people get where you're coming from. But the fact of the matter is, you should be able to say to someone, I will not stay in a relationship where this person believes in cheating and that's it. You don't need to explain why. You don't need to explain your trauma. You should be able to say, I do not want to have sex before marriage. You should not have to pull for the Bible and provide proof where God wants us to be pure or give them examples of people who weren't. No, you should be able to say, this is my boundary. I do not want to indulge in sex before marriage regardless of what you think, regardless of the fact that I might already have 3 children and you might think that you have 3 children. No, no, no. You do not need to explain that. Well, I had all 3 of my children out of wedlock, but then I started serving God afterwards, and this is my boundary now. No. So I stopped doing that. This is my boundary. Period. I am not going to make you feel better. I'm not going to attempt to make you feel better about it. I'm not going to try to make it bite sized so you can digest it. This is my boundary. Having a high EQ taught me that having self respect isn't being rude, it is simply being wise. I started to honor what I say instead of seeking approval for it. So if this is what I said, this is what I said I'm going to do. I don't care who approves of it. And this is not saying that I do not take advice from others. This is not saying that my mom can't share how she feels about it, that my friends can't share. What I'm saying is, if this is my word, this is what I am standing on. I am standing on it regardless of if you agree, regardless of if you think that I should chase after this thing, regardless of if you think that I am ready for this or I'm right for this. I am going to do it. I can go back to a couple of years ago when I made the decision to recommit my life to God. My friend then had asked me, are you sure you are ready for this? Are you sure that you'll be able to handle this new lifestyle? And this was a commitment that I had already made with God. I had already realized that there was nothing for me out in the world. So I had already stood on business and decided to recommit. But then she asked me, are you sure you are ready for this? I was not about to explain why I'm ready. I stood on it, high EQ, stood on business, and I didn't care whether or not she approved. I know how things are right now. I know that where we are in society, there isn't exactly safe spaces or safe people that you can express your emotions. Sometimes we might feel like the time isn't right. I don't have the convenience right now to figure out how I'm feeling, to note it, to recognize it. And I understand because there's just so much happening in the world. There's so much hustle, there's so much bustle. And I also know that I've been at that place where I felt like I did not want to burden anyone with this. I did not want to tell anyone how I was feeling. And then it kind of felt pointless to do the work by myself. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do for me. If you're a person who already journals, perfect. This is just something else. If you don't journal, I want you to get a journal, a notebook, or anything it is. I want you to start writing down how you feel. Start expressing your emotions instead of suppressing them. So if you're feeling a particular way, I want you to stop, even if it's for 10 minutes, and ask yourself. Sometimes a good breathing exercise does help. You stop, you rest your hand on your chest just to calm, just to center yourself. And you simply ask, why does this make you feel this way? Figure out how you feel. I am trying to help you to identify your emotions. Once you identify it, then write it down. Write down however it is that you feel. In doing that, you are expressing it instead of suppressing it. Because what we will find is the more you suppress your emotions and depend on your IQ, the more you have things bottled up until one day it comes out. And sometimes when it does come out, it comes out in ridiculous, crazy, violent ways. You find yourself trying to plan to take someone out simply because you did not express your emotions. And I know that we talk about having a high IQ and people want to depend on logic, but there are just some things that logic cannot fix. So if you're feeling sad right now, logics will not help you to feel better. I assure you. You can say, well, you shouldn't be feeling sad over this because really you guys broke up, but he wasn't that good to you. Having a high EQ, however, will help you to identify, why do you feel this way? Oh, I have abandonment issues. That's why I feel the way that I feel right now. That's why I feel lonely. That's why I feel like I've been tossed out to the side. So we have to know where we apply EQ and where we apply IQ. And IQ does not fix your emotional issues. I also want you to stop. Stop way more, pause way more, and say, let me think about it. Let me see how I feel about it before you agree to whatever it is that anyone comes at you with. So instead of feeling like your first instinct is to please someone, instead I want you to ask yourself, how does this make me feel? Give yourself time. You need to be comfortable with saying to people, give me some time to get back to you. You don't have to give a response right now, because sometimes I know we feel cornered. We feel like it's rude not to respond. But what's even more rude to you is to respond, and then that's not the way you feel genuinely. I also want you to do a weekly check in with yourself. I want you to ask yourself, did I act from a place of clarity this week or this past week, or did I operate from a place of fear? Because that right there will help you to figure out what are your regular patterns, what are your triggers, why do you usually respond this way. So if you're journaling at the end of the week and you're like, okay, I made a major decision this week, but I did that from fear. Now you get to ask yourself, but why? What was I afraid of? What was I afraid that will happen if I did not make this decision, or if I did not act this way when I did? Check in with yourself, ask yourself, talk to yourself. I want you to understand that Jesus didn't even live to please people. And I mean, that should be the model that you're following. You should be trying to do things like Christ. And he did what he was supposed to do. He did what was right for him to do, what he was called to do. He wasn't trying to please people, because I mean, if you've read the Bible, you know the disciples all had their opinions, okay? And a lot of times, I mean, their opinions might have been coming from the right place, but we would have seen over and over and over again where their opinions would have contradicted his calling. Their opinions would have run a full-on interference with what he had going on. So if you're trying to be like Christ, and if you're trying to live life the right way, I can tell you, there is nothing in the Bible that tells you that you need to live to please everyone. I'm pretty sure there have been times when you found yourself acting out like I have, responding to things in a way that clearly I did not think it through. Clearly I did not identify, regulate, or manage my emotions. If you allow someone to be in charge of your emotions, if you allow people to trigger you, to pull you out as it relates to your response, how you feel, you will forever feel like you're doing what people told you to do. If a person knows what to say or what to do to get you to respond a particular way, then you're serving them. They have become your idol. If a person knows that in order to get her or to get him to act this way, I need to do this, then they are in charge of your emotions. And so that's why it's so important for you, even in moments of anger, even when you act out, it is important for you to go back later on, just reflect on it and ask yourself, why did I respond this way? Why did I allow this person to have this much control over me? What is that thing that sent me over the edge? A lot of times, even depression, when we feel waves of depression, it is simply because we did not apply EQ. We probably used IQ, because when you felt down, instead of going to the restroom at work and getting out a good cry or trying to process how you're feeling or simply ask for the rest of the day off, you figured, no, I don't have time for it right now. So you applied logic. Logic would say, I'm in the middle of the workday. I should not be feeling this way right now. I do not have space. I do not have room to feel. And so you will find that one day you go to work and you just crash out and you start telling your boss things that might make you lose your job. But I am just trying to share with you just how important it is to regulate yourself, to learn where to apply what. Once you get a hang of that, once you start living, walking in your truth, knowing that this is how I feel, I have acknowledged how I feel, I know why I respond to things the way that I do, you find that in more and more areas of your life, you will be able to control your emotions. If this spoke to you, I want you, if you're watching on YouTube, to comment down below. Tell me what's that one thing that you need to do to start working on your emotional intelligence. If you're listening in, you can go ahead, reply. I look forward to hearing from you. If you know someone who needs to get on the journey to start regulating their emotions and developing emotional intelligence, send this video to them. You don't have to say why, but go ahead and send this video to them. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I have no idea what you are waiting for. So go ahead, hit subscribe. If you are listening in, do go ahead, follow, and leave a 5-star rating. I would appreciate it also if you would leave a review. Thank you so very much for joining me, and I do look forward to having you in the next one. Bye.
Walk her down the valley, pack a piece of heaven for the bottoms of her feet. Teach her how to jump and how to stretch when she reach, like the angels do.